Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner warned as ex-pro backs 22-year-old star for 2026 Grand Slam triumph. In the constantly evolving landscape of men's tennis, two names have defined the post-Big Three era, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Both have captured the imagination of fans with their fearless shot-making, athleticism, and early success on the biggest stages. Yet, as the tour heads into its next chapter, an unexpected storyline is emerging: the rise of a 22-year-old challenger who has caught the eye of an influential former professional, prompting a bold prediction that could reshape the sport's hierarchy by 2026. A changing of the guard. For much of the past 2 decades, men's tennis was shaped by the dominance of Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic. Their reign defined excellence, with trophies and records piling up year after year. As their era wanes, a younger generation has stepped forward. Alcaraz, still only in his early 20s, already owns multiple Grand Slam titles and is known for his explosive power and artistry. Sinner, the composed Italian, has quietly built a resume of deep slam runs and Masters titles, pairing unflappable temperament with clinical ground strokes. The two have been widely tipped to carve up the biggest prizes between them, inheriting the mantle of supremacy from their predecessors. But tennis rarely follows a script. History shows that just as a rivalry begins to crystallize, an outsider often arrives to complicate the narrative. That possibility now looms larger than ever, as a former tour veteran has cast the spotlight on a player he believes will storm the summit. The endorsement that stirred debate. In a recent interview, an ex-pro with years of experience on the ATP circuit offered a sweeping assessment of the men's field. While praising Alcaraz's dynamism and Sinner's precision, he warned against viewing the sport through a two-horse lens. He singled out a 22-year-old contender, unnamed in many public discussions but steadily climbing the rankings, and predicted that this player is destined to capture a Grand Slam by 2026. The endorsement carried weight not just for its boldness, but for the timing. With both Alcaraz and Sinner entrenched in the top tier, few have seriously entertained the prospect of a third force disrupting their expected dominance. Yet the former professional insisted that complacency could cost the established stars dearly if they underestimate the hunger of those chasing from below. Who is the 22-year-old star? The player at the heart of this debate has built momentum quietly, blending raw talent with an increasingly polished skill set. At 22, he has spent the past seasons honing his craft across surfaces, notching wins over higher-ranked opponents and demonstrating the physical endurance required for 5-set battles. Observers point to his heavy baseline game, a reliable serve, and an ability to transition forward, a mix that evokes the completeness once synonymous with the game's legends. Coaches have highlighted his professionalism and willingness to grind through lesser events to refine his approach. Those close to him speak of an insatiable drive, suggesting that while Alcaraz and Sinner have already tasted the ultimate success, this player's hunger may be even greater. Alcaraz and Sinner's perspective. For Alcaraz, who has thrived under the weight of expectations, the warning serves as both a challenge and motivation. The Spaniard has built his young career on a foundation of relentless improvement, frequently noting that staying ahead requires constant evolution. He knows that rivals are studying his every move, looking for weaknesses to exploit. Sinner, similarly, embodies quiet resilience. His calm demeanor belies a fiercely competitive core, and he has shown an ability to rebound from setbacks with a refined plan. Both players recognize that tennis history is littered with examples of prodigies overtaken by less heralded names who timed their surge to perfection. Lessons from history. The sports archives offer ample precedent for caution. In the late 1990s, few anticipated that Gustavo Kuerten would snatch the Roland Garros crown ahead of more established names. In the mid-2000s, Novak Djokovic's ascent disrupted what many expected to be a Federer-Nadal duopoly. More recently, Daniil Medvedev's 2021 US Open triumph arrived at a moment when Djokovic appeared poised for a calendar Grand Slam. These episodes underscore the perils of forecasting a monopoly in men's tennis. Even when two players stand apart, the tour's depth ensures that new champions can emerge from obscurity to capture the sport's grandest prizes. What makes the 22-year-old dangerous? Analysts dissecting the young contender's game have identified several attributes that could underpin a breakthrough. Chief among them is his capacity to sustain aggression without sacrificing consistency. His forehand, struck with a blend of topspin and flattening power, can dictate rallies against even the most athletic opponents. Meanwhile, his backhand, a compact, reliable stroke, allows him to absorb pressure and redirect pace. Fitness is another advantage. Modern tennis demands not just skill but relentless stamina, particularly over best-of-5 contests. The 22-year-old's conditioning has been praised by trainers, who note his ability to maintain intensity late in matches. Mental poise rounds out the package. He projects calm in tight moments, rarely giving away points through rash decisions. Implications for the next 2 seasons. The forecast of a Grand Slam title by 2026 invites speculation about how the next 2 years will unfold. The men's calendar offers opportunities across varied surfaces, the fast courts of Australia and the US, the slower clay of Paris, and the prestige of Wimbledon's grass. A player capable of adapting to all conditions instantly multiplies his chances of success. Alcaraz and Sinner, despite their pedigree, must guard against assuming ownership of the trophies. The 22-year-old's progress will likely be incremental: deeper slam runs, Masters semi-final appearances, and perhaps an early breakthrough title to announce himself fully. By the time the 2026 season dawns, he could be a fixture in the top echelon, primed to capitalize if the favorites falter. The psychological battle. High-stakes tennis is as much mental as physical. Alcaraz and Sinner have already endured the scrutiny that accompanies stardom, but defending status can prove harder than achieving it. The pressure to justify their billing as torchbearers may intensify as new challengers encroach. For the rising star, the equation is simpler: he competes with little to lose, seeking validation rather than preservation. That dynamic often emboldens emerging talents, freeing them to swing aggressively in defining moments. Should he score an upset over one of the tour's headliners, confidence could snowball into sustained success. The broader competitive landscape. Beyond the trio, the ATP Tour remains fertile ground for surprises. Established names in their mid to late 20s are striving to maximize their window, while younger players fresh from the junior ranks hunger for recognition. Injuries, scheduling decisions, and surface preferences will also shape outcomes. The former professional's prediction therefore sits within a wider puzzle: how the game balances established excellence with untested ambition. If accurate, his forecast may herald a fresh rivalry that reinvigorates the sport.